All right. This is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. I am live with you here with Patrick J. We have quite a few things to get into. We're going to go through picks 6 through 20 today for the 2021 NFL mock draft, and it's going to be exciting. Yesterday we did 1 through 6. And now we got to do 7 through 20. My bad. And then there's also an article that I saw that came out this morning that we're definitely going to get into because it just rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. We're also going to talk about what the future holds now that Carson Wentz is out of Philadelphia, and now we can really start to do some deep dives with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. I think it's going to be exciting. I think there's a lot of potential there moving forward. And I think us as Philadelphia Eagles fans, we have a lot to be excited about. And we already got 3 people in here, Patrick. So let's say hello, and let's just go ahead and say, hey, guys, go ahead and leave your questions, comments, and concerns, if you have any, in the live chat box, and we'll be more than happy to get to them. Patrick, how you doing today, my man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal. So let's go ahead. Let's start with this. Let's go ahead and start with the this article that I wanna go ahead and get to. And this article is written by a guy named Ed Condren, and I'm going to touch on this because the headline of this article, and please, anybody who's in here, please comment on this because I really do want to touch on it. It's obviously a very touchy subject, just for the times that we're going through as a country, as a nation, just as an overall body of people, really. The title of the article, the headline of the article is, "Given that it's Philly, we can assume racism led fans to wanting Wentz over Hurts." Now, look, I want to be perfectly clear about this. I have said multiple times that I love Carson Wentz, and I have defended Carson Wentz till my eyes turned red and my face turns blue. That does not mean that I have anything against Jalen Hurts. I am excited for Jalen Hurts. If anybody in the chat took that the wrong way, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to have an open conversation about it, because that, I think, is the key to a successful strategy moving forward. I have no racist bone in my body. I will have that conversation with you if you'd like, but I defend both quarterbacks, and I think both quarterbacks have a successful future ahead of them. Patrick, tell me what you think about this article that this guy wrote. And we're just going to start with the headline for now, but we're going to break it down piece by piece. Go ahead.
I'm not super familiar with the article itself right now. I just got a hold of it, so I'm still in the process of reading it. But it's a heavy topic, especially everything that our country and the whole world as in general that's gone through. I think it's a good thing that people of color, Black Lives Matter, that kind of movement is happening. But anytime it's a touchy subject. It's not something that you want to tread lightly. It is a very heavy subject, and then there are definitely racism still exists in this world. And it's a fact that we can't ignore. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard no matter what.
Of course. And Franklin says, Franklin here. What's up, man? How you doing? I'm good, Franklin. How you doing, buddy? Happy Saturday, guys. I'm sorry. I forgot to say that. That's usually my opening lingo, part of my opening monologue. Happy Saturday to everyone. Let's just kick it off that way. I want to make sure that we keep this conversation positive. Patrick, happy Saturday, brother.
Not back at you.
Thank you. Franklin, I'm doing good. I'm pretty sure Patrick's doing good. I hope you guys are doing good. Football King says, excited to hear the picks again. Yeah, and we're going to get to that, Football King, no problem. King, I am happy that you are here, my friend. You always pose some good conversation. All of you do, really. King says, that's so BS. Whoever wrote that article needs to get clapped. Yeah, Yeah, no, and I understand the frustration there, and it really is BS. It's I'm surprised that the article has not been taken down yet. I think it's completely emotionally immature and insensitive, and it basically took a shot at the entire city of Philadelphia. And I personally, being from Philadelphia myself, I do not appreciate it. And we're gonna get into it. I support both quarterbacks, as I said. Moving forward, I'm excited for Jalen Hurts. I believe that he has the potential to be even better for us than Carson Wentz was. Just because he might, he did bring that excitement to that 4-game sample that we saw, and so I'm excited. Obviously, you know, we don't want to. We can only service somebody else's emotional immaturity to a certain point. At some point, they have to take the reins and they have to put in the work themselves as well to see if they can grow into a more mature human being. So, but we're going to go ahead and break this down. Let me go ahead and bring this up. Patrick, why don't you go ahead? We're going to go ahead, and while I'm bringing this up, go ahead and go through pick 7 through 10, and let's kick off a mock that way while I'm bringing this up.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want to do? Do you want to just take turns again, or?
Yeah, we're gonna alternate. So 7 through 10. Who do we got at 7?
Yeah, I mean, just to recap, I think yesterday, for those that did not watch it, we did take turns, kind of just trying to see what we think that each team's going to go. Our rule was that there was going to be no trades, and then we were strictly going to be, like positional needs, and then what we thought for that team works best. So I think if I'm correct, I think we took with Jacksonville Jaguars, we took Trevor Lawrence with the first pick.
Yes, sir.
Zach Wilson for the New York Jets on with the second pick. Penei Sewell protecting Tua with the third pick for the Dolphins. And then I believe you took Justin Fields for the Falcons to go ahead and be the heir apparent to Matt Ryan. Number 5, with the Bengals already having a franchise quarterback and then having like T. Higgins and some other options there, we went with Kyle Pitts just to give him another weapon. And then with number 6 overall pick to the Eagles, I believe you went ahead with Mr. Devontae Smith.
Yes, sir.
So that leads to number 7, Detroit Lions. And then why don't you kick it off, actually?
With the Detroit Lions. Yeah, no, I certainly will. Here, give me 1 second here.
Lions have a lot of needs. I mean, they're off to a fun off season. They did trade their franchise quarterback in Matthew Stafford, got Jared Goff back, but I mean, they still have a lot of pieces out there in Detroit. And then they, sometimes here and there they showed some flashes, and I actually think they're just a few pieces away from actually contending again. So
yeah, I do too. And to touch on that too, I think Jared Goff is a good quarterback, guys. I think Jared Goff does still have a few good years ahead of him. I think he has many good years ahead of him. Honestly, for those who know and listened to my previous streams, I was one of those guys who wasn't sure what Sean McVay was thinking. I mean, he wasn't the sole reason, but he was one of the reasons for them being able to get to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. And so it's not like they were an absolute catastrophe with Jared Goff at quarterback. So I think the Lions definitely did. Of course, the Lions did definitely win that trade. But I feel like Sean McVay is just so convinced that the Rams are in win now mode. And that's why we saw that. That's why we saw that take place. And then who do we have at 8, Patrick?
who'd you take at 7?
Oh, who'd I take at 7?
Yeah.
You know what? I think I want to go here. Let me bring this up. I was trying to bring up that article. I think they deleted it. Honestly, for an update for that article, I think they deleted it off of Bleacher Report.
Yeah, I mean, let's go. Let's move on to some positives and just do this.
Yeah, no, I just got a little sidetracked. Sorry, guys, for everybody who's in here. Hi, AJ. Welcome to the chat, my friend. Give me 1 second here. Having some technical issues. All
Yeah, I
right.
mean, 3 quarterbacks in top 5, huh? It's crazy.
Yeah, 3 quarterbacks in the top 5. I mean, I could definitely see it. I could definitely see it happening. Um, it's one of those things where there are teams that there are teams in the top 5 that need those quarterbacks, and the Falcons don't necessarily need one, but as we talked about, there's no better time for the Falcons to go ahead and grab that quarterback
Right, and then
than
like
right
we talked
now.
about, yesterday, even if it isn't necessarily the Jets or the Falcons taking a quarterback at 2 and 4, I think it's pretty apparent that somebody might trade up there, whether it's the Panthers or the Broncos, to get up there and take that franchise quarterback. So I mean, I think it's pretty plausible that the 3 quarterbacks, the top 3 guys are going to go in the first 5. So, um,
Right. Right. Exactly. And here, let's just get to some of these questions before I go ahead and pull my pickup. Franklin comes in and says, if I were High Roseman, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. I'm going to go Devontae Smith at 6. King says, I know Jalen Hurts will pop off, that Doug is gone for sure. Yeah, no, I'm excited about Nick Sirianni, and especially the fact that Brian Johnson is our new quarterbacks coach coming over from the college ranks and did some phenomenal work with Dak Prescott, as we all know, and has known Jalen Hurts since he was very young. So that's going to be an exciting connection to watch and see how that develops as well. No QB in the first round for me, says Football King. Yeah, absolutely, my man. I think we were on the right track with Marcus Mariota. Whether it's going to be Marcus Mariota, I don't know. I don't mind taking a guy in the later rounds, kind of like the Sam Ellinger, like we talked about yesterday, out of the University of Texas. I think he's going to be a good I'm not going to say a good prospect, but it's worth taking a guy like that in the later rounds. Also, Easton Stick for the Chargers might be available to be traded for. I know that the Eagles were interested in him when he was coming out of college instead of Clayton Thornton a couple years ago. So that's a possibility to make a trade for a backup quarterback. Franklin comes in and says Lions will draft the franchise quarterback and waste him again. Let's pump the brakes on that, Franklin. Because the Lions need an edge rusher. The Lions need a linebacker. Now, this brings up the Micah Parsons conversation again. So we're going to have this conversation. But I could see them possibly going with a Kwity Paye here.
Wow. I mean, it's your pick. I mean, that's a game that we play. So I mean, you're going with Kwity Paye.
Yeah, I'm gonna because
Yeah.
I've seen Kwity Paye rise the ranks, man. But no,
No,
honestly,
no doubt.
I'm gonna go with Micah Parsons. I'm gonna say they could take Kwity Paye here, but I'm gonna say Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I agree with you. Parsons brings a lot of tools, in the second level, and like we talked about, he has the speed and athleticism. Didn't know who it was yesterday. I totally forgot. But someone mentioned the character issues. But like once he can get past that, I think he's going to be that bona fide Mike linebacker, all pro kind of guy for the number 7 at the Lions. So the Panthers. I mean, I'm gonna since there's a no trade rule. I mean, if they do stick at 8, I'm gonna pull another quarterback out here, man. They go Trey Lance, number 4 quarterback taken in the top 8 pick. They need a quarterback, and sitting behind Teddy Bridgewater for a season. I mean, it's a luxury that he can take, but I think Trey Lance has a potential to be a starting quarterback here. Not a for sure guy like Trevor Lawrence or even Zach Wilson is, but I mean, even Wilson and Fields have some question marks. But I think Panthers for sure take their quarterback here at number 8.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And then let's go ahead and go over to the Broncos. You just selected Trey Lance there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see, this is one of those things. It's
As a
hard
Broncos,
to
yeah.
yeah, it's hard to. And you and I talked about this off air. I could see John Elway totally fucking this situation up again. If the Broncos do not trade up for a quarterback, then they will be left with Mac Jones here. And Mac Jones should not be taken at 9th overall in the NFL draft. He just shouldn't.
Absolutely not.
So I'm gonna say Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, fortifying that backfield for sure.
Yeah, Patrick Surtain at number 9. Because here's the thing. They might be able to get their hands on Kyle Trask in the second round unless Bill Belichick falls in love with Kyle Trask at 15, but we'll talk about that. Let me go ahead and jump on this real quick. The only reason the article came out because Deuce Staley was supposed to be our new head coach, but we got Nick Sirianni instead. Look, that's certainly one of the reasons. I would say it's certainly probably a contributing factor. They screwed Deuce Staley. They really did. I mean, I'll run through that breakdown real quick. Look, Deuce Staley interviewed for the head coaching job back in 2013. They gave it to Chip Kelly. In 2016, he interviewed for the head coaching job. They gave it to Doug Peterson, and he maintained his running back coach. And then in 2018, after Frank Reich left to go be the head coach for the Indianapolis Colts, he interviewed for the offensive coordinator position, and then it came down to him and Mike Groh. And they should have kept Mike Groh at wide receivers coach when he was a world-renowned wide receivers coach around the NFL. They should have kept him there, and maybe we would be talking about a different wide receivers corps. But he came more prepared than ever for that offensive coordinator position, and they did not give it to him. Now, Doug Peterson fired, and they promoted him to running backs assistant head coach, but we know that the assistant head coach title was just a fucking throwaway, and I absolutely hate it. And 2 years later, Doug Peterson get fired. He comes more prepared than anyone to the interviews and already has his staff in place. And does not get the job. They give it to first-timer Nick Sirianni. Look, it's definitely one of the contributing factors. Another contributing factor is the fact that top of the line head coaching candidate Eric Bieniemy out of Kansas City did not get many offers as he was suspected of getting. There's so many other things that do play into this, but the fact of the matter is this. We're talking about Jalen Hurts. We're talking about Carson Wentz. We're from Philadelphia. We're Eagles fans. We're passionate about our quarterback, no matter who it's going to be. Same thing goes with Kevin Kolb when he came into the league. Yes, were we suspect? Were we a little bit hesitant? Yes, but were we optimistic? Yes. We're going to support either guy. Now, granted, there are people from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that I have met that are that way, but not all of them are like that. And the article used generalities, and it offended me deeply, and that was the issue with the article, and it was removed. I cannot find it anymore. So I'm going to do deeper dives into that, and then I'll get back to you guys about that later. We'll talk about that. But for right now, I want to make sure that we maintain a essence of positivity. And it is worth talking about, and I'm not saying that we're done with this discussion because I don't want that to be the case. I want this to be an open discussion. It's worth having the conversation, and it's a beautiful conversation to have. So please continue to shoot your questions at me and comments and things like that. It's absolutely ridiculous what happened to Deuce Staley. It's absolutely ridiculous what happened to Eric Bieniemy. It's absolutely ridiculous that this article came out. It's absolutely ridiculous of all the things that have been happening, and it should not be happening. And that is my take on that. But right now, we are going to move to number 10. The Dallas Cowboys are division rival in the NFC East, and I have these guys taking fucking Caleb Farley.
Yeah. If Patrick Surtain goes number 9, then they're going to take Caleb Farley. If Patrick Surtain is available and Caleb Farley went earlier, they're going to take the cornerback here. And either of these guys coming into your divisional rivals, they're going to be problems for sure.
Agreed. No, I know, and they already have the wide receivers to destroy us.
Yep, all three guys, man. All three guys. I
mean, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper. They've got CeeDee Lamb. I mean,
their weapons galore. Yeah.
Yeah, they're thinking of trading for Deshaun Watson. They don't include their Dak Prescott in their 2021 hype video. I think that's why. I think they're going to try and trade for Deshaun. Football King says Broncos are in a bad situation. They need a QB. I agree. Football King. John Elway keeps failing the shindig or whatever you want to call it. They need to get somebody, and I'm surprised to hear that the reports were that they weren't interested in Carson Wentz. But they need to get somebody. But if they can get their hands on a Kyle Trask or if Mac Jones falls, and I'm not ruling that out, if Mac Jones falls to the second round, I could see the Broncos trading up and selecting Mac Jones. Definitely, they've done it before. They've done it.
And speaking of Deshaun Watson too, I mean, I heard that the Broncos are very heavily involved with the Deshaun Watson talks too. So I mean, that's another avenue there too. And then if the team like the Jets were to if the team like Jets were to trade for, or Panthers were to trade for, set Deshaun Watson, it'll drop one of the 4 guys down to the Broncos too. I mean, so there's a lot of different ways that this can go. So I mean, the first domino to fall would be that Deshaun Watson piece for sure.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, and Football King says keep in mind Deshaun Watson. Yeah, no, and that is the next big domino to drop. Obviously, we want to make sure that we keep that in mind 100% of the way. It's one of those things that hasn't been getting a lot of attention lately, and we can thank Carson Wentz for that. But Deshaun Watson has his situation has gone sort of under the radar a little bit, but now it's gonna be off front and center now.
Yeah, I think the most recent one, actually, like one of the things that's really interesting about it is that the Dolphins actually jumped in a conversation for Deshaun Watson, and they're trying to get involved using Tua. And honestly, if I were the Texans, and if there's a team that's offering me someone like Tua on top of the picks, I mean, they have to be on the forefront in front of like all these people, all these other teams, because I mean, if you're going to trade your quarterback anyway, you might as well try to get a quarterback back.
Sure, absolutely. Let's go ahead and move on to the New York Giants. Now, this is a huge deal. I'll let you take this one. Saquon's coming back, right? So yep. Daniel Jones did a little bit better as the season went on. I don't think they should move on from Daniel Jones. I still like Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. He just needs some further development. What do you see them doing? Obviously, their needs are offensive linemen and an edge rusher.
Yep, yeah. And they definitely need the playmakers on offense too to kind of like offset Daniel Jones and to kind of give him some help. I mean, having Saquon back, I mean, I think giving Daniel Jones an option, I mean, like, it's crazy. I mean, we picked 10 already, and then Jamar Chase is still on the board in our mock draft here. So, but yeah, they need a tackle, an edge rusher, but I think they go the edge rusher here to help their defensive line. Their defensive line is really talented. They do need that guy to come off the edge and really help them out. So I think a good pick for them would be Gregory Rousseau out of Miami for me.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, that's the other one that I was thinking of. I just put in the live chat, what about Darisaw out of Alabama?
Yeah. That's a good choice too. I just go Rousseau just because I think he's a little bit more highly regarded. Darisaw or even Rashawn Slater, those are the 2 tackles that's going to come off first. Rashawn Slater has a capability to start honestly everywhere on the line. Sure. Darisaw is going to be an impact guy right away too. It's going to be between one of the edge rushers or the tackles, but I think they go Rousseau here, or one of the edge rushers that's on board with how everything's falling in our board. Because I mean, it's funny that you brought up Darisaw, and then when I talked about Rashawn Slater too, I think the next 2 teams are going to be very interested in those 2 guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the 49ers definitely need to get to protection, whoever their quarterback is going to be. And we know that the Chargers have three starting offensive linemen that are about to hit free agency. But yeah, let's go ahead and touch on.
Yeah, keep in mind the 49ers, Trent Williams is also a free agent this year too. So
That's true. And he's still one of those guys who can still be a hot commodity. I think he's only 32, if I'm not mistaken. in on that, and he's definitely one of those guys who performed at a really really high level after taking a year off or 2 years. How many years did he take off? A year?
I think he took off a year. Yeah, and he played at a high level. I mean, didn't he make the Pro Bowl this year too?
Yeah, yeah. No,
he's a
he played. He was phenomenal. He was phenomenal for them.
he's a force on that line. I mean, so that's the thing. I mean, go ahead with your pick first, and then we'll kind of talk about that too. So,
so yeah, no. If you're taking Gregory Rousseau at for the Giants, I'm gonna say Darisaw for the 49ers. And the reason being, the only thing I can say is this is what I'll say is, they could address need here, which is obviously quarterback, wide receiver, and cornerback. But I feel like Darisaw might just be one of those guys who will be a force to come for many years down the line. And you just don't want to whiff on this guy. And this is kind of like the same situation when it comes to the Broncos. Is like, yeah, they could take a Mac Jones here, but I don't think that would be the best. That would be the best option. I say that they go Darisaw here.
totally agree with you. I mean, and just going off of that pick, I'm kind of piggybacking off of your pick. So with the number 13 pick, I think the Chargers go tackle here too, or guard in this case. I mean, Rashawn Slater played mostly guard at Northwestern, but he's one of those guys that can kind of play all over the line, like I said. And then with the Chargers having a lot of the free agency in their line, protecting Justin Herbert's going to be a big thing. And then that's their guy. I mean, Justin Herbert played out of his mind, and he's going to sustain that. And then just protecting him upright is the most important thing. Since Darisaw was gone, they'll take Slater here. And if Slater goes to the 49ers, or if anyone else, I mean, Darisaw goes here.
Yeah. Yeah. Shane Steichen, offensive coordinator Shane Steichen, now at the Philadelphia Eagles. Hopefully he can bring some of those good techniques to the Philadelphia Eagles
for sure.
For Jalen Hurts.
He did wonders with Herbert.
Yeah. Is excited about Shane Steichen. So just for the work that he's done with Justin Herbert. So yeah, at the chart, for the chart. I mean, that's the one thing too. I know you and I have talked about offensive tackles for the Eagles, and there is quite a few offensive tackles in this draft that are suitable, to wait for. There's the guy out of Clemson, and then there's also guys that can move outside and inside. So there's going to be plenty of options to that we'll go ahead and touch on at some point later on down the line. But for the Vikings, I have, let's go ahead and see here. Vikings is a tough one because they could go ahead and let me see. I'm not gonna. Their needs obviously are guard, defensive line, and edge rusher as well. This is a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, Kwity Paye and then Rousseau would be their dream scenario if one of those guys were to fall. But and
right now Kwity Paye is on the board.
Right.
Do you see? Because there are some mocks with Jason Oweh as a top edge rusher. Could you see Jason Oweh going here?
I mean, I do. It totally depends on how the teams value these guys. I mean, obviously, I think of Jason Oweh as fourth or fifth best edge rusher. Kind of like what we talked about last week. And Kwity Paye, I think, is wonders ahead of him as far as his maturity is concerned. And then, like I said, playing in that pro style in Michigan, that translates really well. So I could see Jason Oweh going here, but if Kwity Paye's here, I mean, that has to be the pick. But what would you do, sir? You're the GM of the day.
Kwity Paye. I would go Kwity Paye here. Yeah, because I wanted to take him. I wanted to take him up there. But for the Lions, but we held off on that. So I'm gonna go Kwity Paye here. It just seems like a good position for Kwity Paye to go. He is an extraordinary force on that defensive line, coming out of Michigan as well. Just as you just touched on, Patrick, and I just think it would be a great. I think it would be a great pick for them. That defensive line is getting a little bit long in the tooth, so I think that he would inject a burst of youth into that defensive line for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep, totally agree. So with the next two picks are interesting because with the 15th pick and the 16th pick, these two teams, the Patriots and the Cardinals, I think they're at this point, if the board plays out like it did, they're literally doing a dance out in the street because they're so excited. Because I it's crazy because Jamar Chase is still available for one of these guys. That also means Jalen Waddle is still available from Alabama, and then both these teams could definitely use a wide receiver. And J.C. Horn is still on the board too. And these two teams both need cornerbacks too. But with the Patriots, I don't think they can pass up if Jamar Chase is available at number 15 to give him a weapon out there opposite N'Keal Harry. So this is where they go, Jamar Chase.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't even realize that we didn't take Jamar Chase yet. But I could see if it's one of the wide receivers falling, I could see it be Jamar Chase. I could see that being it.
I mean, that's a crazy thing though. That's a crazy thing though. We only took one wide receiver before this pick, so going into the Cardinals pick, they have Jalen Waddle still available that can slide in and play opposite DeAndre Hopkins if Larry Fitzgerald doesn't come back.
Yeah, and then this is where it starts. Here it is. Yes, Jalen Waddle at 16 for the Cardinals. Real quick, King comes in and says, "Oh no, that's I'm reading old comments. Go ahead, Patrick. Yes, Jaden Waddle at 16 for the Cardinals, and I think that would be absolutely phenomenal, and that would add so much versatility for Kyler Murray. It wouldn't even be funny. And just to touch on that tight end comment that we listened to yesterday, there's going to be some decent tight ends that they can get the Cardinals in the later rounds. I like Hunter Long out of Boston College. For them. The other thing too is there's going to be some guys that they can add. There's going to be some guys that they can add in free agency if they wanted to. I think top of the board in free agency, there is a guy.
Hunter Henry is a
Hunter Henry. There we go.
This year. Yep. Rob's going to go back to Tampa Bay, but I mean, there's some intriguing guys out there. Jared Cook's a free agent. I think Tyler Eifert could possibly be free agent. He's on the club option, I believe, but I mean, he's had that phenomenal year with the Bengals a couple of years ago. Sure. So I mean, he's got all the talent in the world too. So I mean, they got options as far as the tight end's concerned. Dan Olsen, I think it's Dan Olsen, right? Forgot his name. Yeah, he's like a receiver in the tight end position that's playing out there for the Cardinals, and he did show some promises too. So I mean, who knows? I mean, if the Cardinals do definitely have some options later on with the tight end, but like you got to surround Kyler with weapons. I mean, this is where another like offensive line could go. I mean, with uncertainty with Patrick Peterson, and they literally have nobody playing quarterback out there in the desert. So they could take a cornerback like J.C. Horn, or if one of the top two guys fall here, they're going to, definitely take them, jump on them right away. But Waddle's a good pick out here. 17 with the Raiders. I think they look for edge rusher here. They would love to have one of those weapons like the receivers fall to them, but I think at this point they jump on an edge rusher in this position. I think this is where we could go Jason Oweh, kind of like what you talked about before. I think this is as high as he could come off. I think Joseph Asai could be an option here too, but I think I go with Oweh here for the Raiders.
For sure. Absolutely. And I do like that pick for them actually. Just because we know that John Gruden obviously does have more of a defensive background anyway. So for the Dolphins, what's that?
No, I said number 18. Go ahead.
Oh, is he number 18?
No. Number 18 pick.
Oh, pick. Oh, yeah, because you knew how excited I was about the LSU 18. but he doesn't come from LSU. It's fine. Anyway, moving on. Thanks, Patrick, for throwing off my attention. I appreciate that, buddy. I'm just kidding.
Anytime.
One love, one love. All right, Miami Dolphins are back on the board at 18. I think they're honestly going to trade back, to be completely honest with you. But we can go ahead and go. We had them taking Penny, right? Penny Sewell. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's one of those things. I think it is going to be. One moment here. This is a good one too. This is a good one too, because speaking of surprises, and and I know how much you love surprises.
Depending on what kind of surprise, but
Right.
yeah.
I'm thinking.
After seeing the news today, I'm gonna do a hot take here. I think this number 18 pick goes to the Texans with Tua for Deshaun. Just saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins get Deshaun. As crazy as it sounds.
I could see J.C. Horn going here.
Is that your pick?
Yes, it is.
JC Horn's yeah, he's a good pick here. I mean, I can see them going linebacker. I can see him going playmaker. Obviously, whoever you have at quarterback, I mean, they need a playmaker. I mean, if there is a earliest that I can see a running back coming off the board, I think it's number 18 here in Miami. But I think Horn's a good pick for them.
Yeah, I mean, defensive-minded head coach, J.C. Horn just makes sense to me here. So
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so number 19.
The Washington football team. I mean, they have to address their quarterback situation somewhere. That once again, this is way too early to be taking. Trask or Mac Jones. I mean, this is not where you take those guys. So, I mean, if they want to address the quarterback situation, they can trade back and take one of those guys later. But for the Washington football team, I think no matter what, I think they need some help up front. I think they would love to have Darisaw fall here, but I think with the 2 tackles being taken already, I think they go Jalen Mayfield, who is my next best offensive lineman from Michigan. He can kind of come out there and then just fortify the tackle position for whoever the quarterback is. So,
yeah, King came in and says, "Nah, they got Alex Smith." Well, to touch on that a little bit, yeah. To touch on that a little bit, and while I agree with you, and I'm pretty sure Patrick agrees with you too, Alex Smith is a phenomenal game manager, and to win comeback player of the year, it's no joke. Especially after the injury that he had, I think he can still pull off the game manager status, but I do think that they do want to get younger, and so I assume that that's where you're going with your pick, Patrick. Is getting younger at that quarterback position, finding that guy. But
right, because I mean, no matter what, Alex Smith, I mean, I have utmost respect for the guy. I mean, like most of us wouldn't dare to step back on the field with the gruesome injury that he's had. But he's like you said, I totally agree with you. He's more of a game manager. He's a kind of like Marcus Mariota we talked about. He's one of those cerebral guys, really smart, really respectable guy that can stand in the sideline and kind of, pick apart the defense and kind of help the young guy out. And then, I mean, think about it, just having your future quarterback, the younger guy, come in right now and just to be able to spend some time with Alex Smith for the next year or two. I mean, it's going to be tremendous. And out of, utmost respect to him, I don't necessarily know if it's in his best interest or the best interest of the Washington football team to throw him out there with his injury concerns, as a starting quarterback each year. And all the more reasons to go with a tackle pick that I did. I mean, if Alex Smith is your guy, you got to protect him. So, I mean, you go that route, but they're in a peculiar position. I mean, there's so many other teams that need a quarterback, and then they're all the way down at 19. So unless they trade up, they're not going to be able to get one of the top 4 guys here. So I mean, they're in a weird spot. But I mean, who knows if they go.
And they certainly can, and that's the thing is they certainly can. They have the 2, so they certainly can do that.
Right.
Do they have the 2? Hold on a second.
2 what?
The 2 2s. I thought they had the 2 2s. They do not. No, they don't. Sorry.
Forget. No, you're good.
Forget what I'm saying. Forget what I'm saying.
It's a good point.
No, look.
A lot of respect to Alex Smith, but yeah, he's not a future.
Yeah, no, and what I was gonna say too is like it's not like they didn't try, right? They drafted the quarterback and they brought Alex Smith. I believe that was during the same offseason. So they tried to find the guy that could study under the tutelage of an Alex Smith, and they failed. They failed to do it. And so. So I could see them going quarterback here. If they fell in love with a guy like Kyle Trask or with a guy like Mac Jones. For me, honestly, I have Kyle Trask rated a little bit above Mac Jones at this point. That's just me and my personal opinion. But then again, how much of that is Kyle Pitts? We don't know. But I'm sure we'll definitely dive deep into that. Anyway, Football King says Alex Smith is a legend, but not starting quarterback anymore. Haha, respect though. Yeah. No, he can manage games. He can manage games successfully well, and he did it enough to help get them into the playoffs, regardless of how well that defensive front is. So, all right. Next we got Chicago Bears.
Day, right? Yeah.
Final pick of the day, the Chicago Bears.
All you.
Yeah.
Let me give you my take on it. Just real quick with the Bears.
I will, and I know where I want to go. I know where I want to go with this. But yeah, let's hear your take. Go.
Go for it. They're also in a weird position. I mean, They're also in a interesting position too. I mean, the whole Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles situation, Allen Robinson, they have to re-sign the guy, but he's a free agent too. But I mean, that was a one-man show towards it later in the season. It was Allen Robinson or nothing, so they would love to have one of the receiver guys coming down here too. But there's a lot of positional needs for these guys. I mean, they could take a tackle here too, a guard, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like a recurring theme, I feel like, for a lot of these teams. It's just a lot of these teams have a lot of positional needs, and then a lot of the key guys being a free agent this year and with the salary cap being floored at $180 million instead of going up, that's also going to be interesting going forward too. So, I'm interested to see what you're going to say for the Bears.
This is where we see the first reach. Not the first reach, but this is where the first known reach out of our mock draft is concerned. This is going to be Mac Jones here.
You think they go Mac Jones at 20? Hot take.
Yeah, I do. Because I don't think that they know what the fuck they're doing in Chicago. I think Ryan Pace is on the hot seat, and we all know that. And I think that he is just a little bit of a buffoon. So and that's not why, but I think that they need to get the quarterback, and he knows it. His job's on the line. They got to get a quarterback with the first round pick. Otherwise, it's over for him. It's over for him. They have to get that quarterback situation straightened out. And I do want to take this to 21 just because I'm sure we all still love Carson Wentz because it's only been just a few days. They're going to get Carson Wentz help, Patrick. Guess where I'm going? Guess where I'm going with this motherfucking pick? I am going with the sophomore.
You're reaching again.
I don't care. I don't care. They're going to get that beastly wide receiver. And for some reason, he's slipping my name right now.
Marshall,
Mr. Terrence Marshall, who's only 20 years old, dude. And if he puts on size, he will be legit. I don't care if I'm reaching. I don't care if I'm reaching. We see people reach all the time and they turn into phenomenal studs. So like I don't, and we see people fall and they turn into guys that we should have reached for, like Tom Brady or DK Metcalf or fucking a ton of people.
Yeah, I mean
Earl Thomas should have
it,
never fallen to what was it, 13 or 14? I think it was 14.
mhm. Yeah,
Based
it's
off of his
crazy
career.
to think about that Terrace Marshall was
Is
in.
20.
Can go back to that. Go back to that 2 years when he first went to LSU and just look at their offensive team. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, DJ Chark, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Foster Moreau, Stephen Sullivan, Derek Dillon. That
Yeah.
is a star-studded team right there. And
It's
for Marshall to come in there as a young guy and then just finding his place and niche this last year, I mean, I mean, I don't doubt that he's going to have success in this league. I mean, he's what, 6'4", 200 pounds. He's a lanky guy, but he's got the hands and he's got the yards after catch for this guy his size. He can develop into really strong receivers. I mean, I see. Here's the thing. I would hate to make this comparison, but his body type, I can see Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins kind of guy. I mean, that's insane to say that, but I mean, he does have the potential to do that, and he's young. So I mean, all the time in the world to develop this guy, then he's gonna come out to be a solid NFL receiver. But it's a reach, 21.
At the end of the day, I don't think it will be though. And I think that they're going to do. Here's the thing. Frank Reich knows Carson really well. Carson loves Frank Reich. Frank Reich loves Carson. Trust on both sides of the ping pong table. Nothing but trust. They're going to do everything that they possibly can to make sure that Carson Wentz is happy. Do you know what number terminal Carson Wentz pulled into yesterday at the airport? Take a wild guess.
What number Carson Wentz pulled
11,
into?
11A. 11A. Come on. You don't think that was purposeful? You don't think that was intentional? Of course it was. Of course it was.
See, you're reaching again. You're just reaching back to back here with all the.
I mean, hey, I got big dreams and I gotta reach. I gotta reach for the stars, Patty. I gotta reach for the stars, my man. And you do too. So I know. No.
It's I get it. I'm a big Carson Wentz believer, and I'm a big Jalen Hurts believer, and it's coming from someone that's not necessarily an Eagles fan, but I think those two guys are going to be successful, and then I wish Carson Wentz nothing but the best luck. I mean, I think the Eagles had to do what they had to do, and I think they are on the right path, including like that tough salary cap situation, but doesn't mean Carson Wentz. He's a classy guy. I mean, he had a really nice things to say about the Eagles organization and the fans. I mean, and he should. He won a Super Bowl there, and then he should be commended as one of the better guys to ever wear that uniform.
Well, I want to, no, exactly. And I want to talk about this for a second because the question was this is what exactly happened then? If Doug wasn't talking to Carson for 10 weeks and we get rid of Doug, then what exactly was the issue? And so I was listening to Adam Kaplan last night and it was the culmination of so many things. It's like the feeling like the Super Bowl should have been his. The Super Bowl should have been his. The season was his, dude. He was phenomenal. They built the statue outside the Super Bowl of Doug and Nick. It should have been Carson's statue. Yeah. They built the shrine. Chris Long built the shrine to Nick Foles the following season when he took them on. It should have been Carson's shrine. Like it should have been. It should have been this. It should have been that. It should have been that. Like that plays into your psyche. They go in. They draft Jalen Hurts. Like he's injured, man. Like he can't do anything about it. Like he just knows that. Like I know where I can take this team, and I have no control over the situation because I got hurt. That plays into your psyche, man. And then the Folesian society comes out, and then you're the guy that you trust the most leaves, and then your head coach doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and it's like you draft Jalen Hurts.
Right. I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, Kurt Warner actually had a really good take on this too. I mean, you're talking about a guy that was playing at an MVP level before he got hurt. and like you said, that team was Carson Wentz's, and I have no doubt, with all due respect to Nick Foles, who did a phenomenal job leading that team to a Super Bowl, I have no doubt that Carson Wentz could have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Kurt
Because
Warner,
he was doing it all
yeah,
season long. He was
right,
doing it all season long, what Nick Foles
yeah.
did for 3 weeks.
What Kurt Warner said is, I quote him, and he says, "I think the Eagles' approach is okay. We got away from what made Carson good, and he was pressing and had a bad year last year, but we don't believe that's who Carson Wentz is." It's he kind of goes on to say that Eagles believes that last year when he was pressing too much, and then they themselves know that they got away from what made Carson Wentz offense so good. So it was. I think it's a little bit of both. I think the Eagles kind of
They do.
looking at what they did coming into this season, I think Eagles first took steps away, and then like they kind of got away from what was successful to them, and then because of that reason, Carson Wentz also started to do something different, because he realized it wasn't working. So he's like, the offense is not going to change overnight, so maybe I have to do something different. So Carson Wentz himself went away from what was working. So
Nobody
yeah,
knew how to fix this thing. And going into this offseason, Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie did not want him to leave. Howie Roseman enlisted in Zach Ertz's help to try and convince Carson to stay. They knew he wanted to leave from the very get-go that the season ended. And it goes back to my point about the importance of whatever that conversation that lasted 10 minutes with Aaron Rodgers that he had after the Green Bay game, because that is when he first got benched, and they both have a great deal of respect for each other. But this is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles, guys. At some point, probably tomorrow, probably around the same time, 3:30, 4 o'clock, we will be going through 2020 picks 21 to 32, and I am live here with Patrick J. We'll be back on the air with you tomorrow with Patrick J as well. And then also, if you guys want to go ahead and donate, I do have a new donation site up. It is streamlabs.com/DB Talking Now/tip. So any love and support that you'd be willing to show, guys, it is recycled, and the donations are redistributed back into the stream, so I can bring you better content and just bring you better streams. Also, we have a new merch store up as well, streamlabs.com/merch/DB Talking Now/merch. And if you guys want to go ahead and visit there, we have raincoats with extra pockets. So if you like to bring accessories with you on your person, if you're a handyman or a handy gal, the raincoat would be phenomenal. If you live in volatile weather where it's more rainy, Patrick and I live in Arizona, so it doesn't rain that much here, but the raincoat would be a good thing for you. We also have t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, tank tops. So if you like to work out, you can rep DB Talking Now that way. But if you go to the gym and do it, make sure you wear a cover so you can protect yourself from the COVID. And we have face covers as well. So go check it out. And there's going to be more items to come. I promise you that. Patrick, go ahead and say goodbye to everybody. Everybody, happy Saturday. I hope you have a beautiful evening. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Yeah, mask up, guys. Stay safe. Let's get this done.
Let's get this done. Let's stay safe. Let's fight this shit. Because it is shitty. All right. Everybody, have a beautiful evening. I thank you so much for your contributions. And I can't wait to see you guys again. Thank you so much, Patrick. Thanks for thank you for coming on, my man. You're awesome. And stay safe, stay healthy. Absolutely, everybody. One love. Go Birds, baby.